Hi, it's Steve from Seaside Allotment. So it's time for another kitchen garden tour, and it's a lovely day. It makes a change because we've had, well, like most of the country, pretty bad winds for the last couple of weeks, and so everything's just a little bit battered. I'll show you around. So the first thing to take a look at are the fruit trees, and this is the second year for this pear tree, and it's got a couple of pears in it, which is really nice to see. But the cherry trees are doing very nicely, and I love these cherry trees, and because they're in the bins they don't grow very big, and so they're really easy to crop. And I shall be cropping them as soon as I've done this video. I'm really pleased with them. Every year they surprise me and delight me in equal measure. So let's have a look at the back garden. So the potatoes are still doing well. We've cropped 3 containers full, 3 tubs full so far. And this is the next one to go. It won't be long before that one's cropped. I'll show you a bit later on what we do once we've cropped, and that's quite interesting, well it is to me anyway. The blackberries are doing nicely. Looks like there's going to be a good crop on these, and these crop for a very long period of time, these blackberries. I don't know whether all blackberries do, not being that experienced in blackberries, but yeah, they crop for, well, 2 or 3 months really. More potatoes all around here, and my outdoor tomatoes. For some strange reason, the tomatoes that I grow outdoors, of all of them, the ones in this container do always, every time, the best. Must be something to do with the location and the size of the container they're in or something, but yeah, it does amazing, this container. I mean, it just produces tomatoes for months. So I've got a few last stragglers of red onions still to plant. Whether these will actually do anything, I don't know, but I don't really want to throw them away, but I've got nowhere to put them right now. I've just started off my winter kale there, collard greens, winter collard greens there, winter broccoli there, what's that one, winter broccoli again, and then curly kale here, Mizuna there, red cabbage. What else have I got? Half height sprouts, because last year they grew too big. Red cabbage here, a couple of spare climbing beans that we're just keeping just in case we lose any more on the plots, and then a variety of green oak leaf lettuce, red rhubarb chard, whitloaf chicory, and red lettuce. So a nice little selection that I've got planted there, and some of these are just standbys in case I have problems with the ones that I've got planted directly in the ground on the allotment. We've got some rhubarb here. Just on that point, I always like to have spares of everything. I never like to go short. I always like abundance. So these are one of the many beetroot crops that I've got, and they're starting to root up nicely. Very pleased with those. Picked a few of those already. This is my perpetual strawberry bed, so it doesn't have a huge number of strawberries on it right now because it's a perpetual. It'll crop right through to October time. But looks pretty good. A couple of weeds in there spotted now, of course. I've got 2 grapevines on this wall. Never grown grapes before. Don't really know what I'm doing. But I do actually have some grapes. I just paused there for a minute to sneeze. Hay fever's getting to me a bit. Yeah, just a few little tiny clumps of grapes there, and another cherry tree, which is looking pretty glorious. And then this is golden beetroot. I think this was under mesh probably last time, and these were the beetroot that were so sickly when I planted them, but I put them under mesh and it worked its wonders. Not mesh, fleece, worked its wonders, and now these are ready for eating. Baby beets, golden baby beets. I planted some of those red onions. They're really late, but then again, this is a very sheltered spot, very warm, and very few pests here, so hopefully they'll do okay. And this is another grapevine. Again, it's just the first few grapes on that. These grapevines are only a year old, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And I've got 2 perennial kales here. These are doing very nicely. Also, these were under fleece last time. These are my carrots. One of many beds of carrots. And these will be ready for eating as well soon, which is always quite exciting. So let's have a look at the fruit garden. Blueberries are doing quite well. I've got loads of blueberry bushes. This one, which is the oldest, it's got a real bumper crop on it. This is 2 or 3 years old, this one, so it's doing great. All the others were planted last year, so they're not quite so good, but still decent crops. Gooseberry, again, it's not. I've got loads and loads of gooseberries on the allotment, so this is really just here, just for picking for fruit salads and things like that. And tomatoes, most of the tomatoes are in the greenhouse, but we have got a few tomatoes here. So on the back wall there, and they're interspaced with some peppers. And these peppers probably won't do that fantastic outside, but they are starting to flower okay, so maybe. Most of my tomatoes and peppers are over there in the greenhouse, in the neighbour's greenhouse. We trade veg for their greenhouse. So unfortunately my apple tree, which has the best apples ever, or used to have the best apples ever, has now been blown over by the wind, and quite amazingly it has almost no roots at all. As you can see, almost nothing there. Apologies for the snuffling, hay fever. So these are the potatoes that I've cropped already. Actually, I must have cropped 5 containers full, and each time I crop them I just pop in a few potatoes from the supermarket, and they grow fine. I only cropped those 2 containers last week, and already the potatoes are up. So it's really quite remarkable. I don't know whether they'll actually be any use, but I thought I'd just try it. And so I've given it a go. They're quite an old bag of potatoes from the supermarket that one of the neighbours gave us. There's about 10 Vivaldi, I think there were. Maybe it must have been a bit more than 10 actually, 15 Vivaldis, and they've all started to sprout. So she gave us them because she didn't want them, obviously, and I just left them in the garage. And every time I use up and empty a container with seed potatoes that I bought, I just pop a few of those Vivaldi in, and up they come. So we shall see. I'm quite intrigued to see how well they do. The raspberries are doing okay. They got very badly battered in the wind, and quite a lot of wind burn on them. So they are supported, but quite a few branches broke off, like this one. These strawberries are doing nicely in here. A really good crop of strawberries in here. And I've got another 2 big beds of strawberries on the allotments as well. But as you can see, lots of red in there. So I'm excited to crop those. And that's going to make up my afternoon stack. And then these are this year's blueberries. Some raspberries in a container just as an experiment. A blueberry that I found just growing in a bucket. I just happened to have enough ericaceous compost left over, so popped it in. We'll see how it goes. And some more of this year's blueberries. Another of this year's blueberries. So that, I think, is most of the kitchen garden. And there's the remains of the apple tree, waiting to be chopped up and taken to the tip. One more trip to the tip, which I'm not looking forward to. So, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. I always like comments, always try to respond. I'm very much a newbie gardener. I started gardening properly last year, so very inexperienced, so any advice gratefully received. Okay, so from the kitchen garden, see you in a month's time. From the other plots, see you in a few days. So before I go, I thought I would just treat you to a view of the crop that I just picked. As I was going around doing the video tour, I thought, well, I've just got to eat some of those. So I picked a few of the cherries and a few of the strawberries. And while this video uploads, I will be munching through this punnet. Perfect.